Alright guys, welcome to my presentation. Now we're looking at cells or levels of organization, right? So in the previous video we looked at cell specialization. Now we're looking at levels of organization. So want to do a little bit of review. Make sure you can recall that cells are the basic unit of life. If you have not gone through our videos on cells, you need to go back and check the video on cells. Recall that specialized cells are cells modified for a specific purpose. If you have not watched the video on cell specialization, please go back and watch that video as well. We want to define terms such as the terms unicellular, multicellular. I think I had also addressed that in the video on cell specialization. So please guys, if you have not watched those videos before, please watch those before watching this one. In this one we are going to define cells, tissues, organs, organ systems, and identify different organs and their organ systems that they belong to. Alright, so remember, as I said, cells are the basic unit of life. All living things are composed of cells. We don't have to review this any further. We said cell specialization is when a cell becomes modified or adapted to carry out a particular function or a specific function, and the term here differentiation is the same as, for this case, specialization. Alright, so some examples of specialized cells, you can see them right here. Now when we talk about unicellular and multicellular, we say that unicellular refers to one cell. So the organism is made of one cell. Good. Here are some examples of unicellular organisms. We have euglena, we have amoeba, we have paramecium. Yeast also, the yeast that is used to make bread and bullers, buns and cakes and so forth in pastries. It's also a unicellular organism. So we have four examples, three shown here: euglena, amoeba, paramecium. These are examples of unicellular organisms. Multicellular organisms refer to many cells. So organisms that are made of many cells are called multicellular organisms. So they are very much around us. We can see them because they are made of a lot of cells. So grasshopper, a shark, trees, jellyfish, flower there, and there's a human being, a nice little girl. Good. All of these are multicellular organisms. So take away from this: unicellular made of one cell, multicellular made of many cells. Now the levels of organization is just as you can see with this little pyramid diagram here. Starting from the lowest level is the cell. Good. We can go lower than this to the atom and the molecule and the compounds and so forth, but we're starting for biology purposes at the cell. So the lowest level is the cell, and then we go on to tissue. So everybody know what the cell is. So next up is the tissue, and then if we go further more complex, we go to the organ, and if we go even more complex, we go to organ system, and the most complex level is the organism itself. Alright, so since we understand what cells are, let's look now at what is a tissue. A tissue is a group of cells working together to carry out a specific function, right? So the important thing here is to note that it is a group of cells, and why this group of cells is special, because they all work together to carry out the same function. We have four types of tissue. You have epithelial tissue, nervous tissue, muscle tissue, and connective tissues. Good. So important thing to note: tissue is a group of cells working together to carry out the same function. So let us look at some other types of tissue. We have epithelial tissue. As we said before, it's made up of sheets of cells, and the function really is to form the lining of spaces and tubes inside the body, also found on the surface of the skin. So the epithelial tissue is on the surface of our skin. That's the most observable example we could use right now. Also remember, in the video on specialization we look at muscle cells, right? And this muscle cells group up together now to form muscle tissue. So the muscle tissue are made up of muscle cells, right? And they bring about movement. They are found in the heart, arms, legs, and the walls of the gut. Next one we have here is the nerve cells, and they are made up of nerve cells. Another name for nerve cell here is neurons. Didn't mention this in the last presentation. I don't think I mentioned it, but important to note this term right here. Doing a very good thing here with the marker. Let me see if I can do it a better job. Just want to highlight this for you, right? So the neurons right here is the same as the nerve cell, right? So this nice name neurons is referring to the nerve cells, and their job is to conduct it and coordinate electrical messages throughout the body. So when you hear about a neuroscientist, you know that is a scientist that deals with nerve cells. When you hear about neurology, you know that it is the study of nerve cells, right? So the neurologist is a doctor who specializes in nerve cells. So sometimes the words, or most times the words, actually tell you what is happening in this field, right? Bone tissue, another name for the bone cells is osteocytes. Osteocytes is another name for the bone cells. So the bone tissues, right? The doctor that talks, and remember the diseases that we mentioned in the last video. When we talk about osteoporosis, you understand that the osteo there is referring to something, is referring to the bones, right? Right. So the names of the cells tend to give you the where the study and the specialization comes about. So we know that the bone cells, this bone tissue actually forms the skeletal system, and it provides support, and it also provides permits movement, and it gives shape to our body. Next one down here we have is blood. Blood is a connective tissue, but blood is a funny type of tissue. Not really funny, but the fact that blood is actually a runny fluid containing loose cells. For all of the other tissues, these cells are kind of stationary, and they stick to each other. But when it comes to the blood is a runny fluid containing loose cells, and these cells include the red blood cells. And if anybody could recall from the last class, we said that the red blood cells carry oxygen around the body, and the white blood cells, they actually defend the body against diseases, right? Another name for the red blood cells, or the correct name is the erythrocytes, and for the white blood cells is the leukocytes, right? So when you hear about leukemia, you know that we're talking about something have to do with the white blood cells, something in the blood. All right. In plants we have some tissues as well. We have epidermal tissue, and the epidermal tissue, just like up here you see epithelial, and down now here you're seeing epidermal tissue. Good. These cells actually just line the surface of the plant. This is a microscopic view of what the epidermal tissue would look like. The photosynthetic tissue is actually the palisade cells in combination with the mesophyll cells, and they actually just work together to make food. Good. That's what they are doing together, and they are loaded with chloroplast. Packing cells are just some round balloon like cells, and they actually just fill up spaces. So pack up the empty space. No empty spaces there. Vascular tissue, as we said last time, this is a combination of both xylem and phloem, and their role is to transport the water and minerals and food substances around the plant. Now, what is an organ? An organ is a group of tissues. So you see now we're getting more complex. So first we said that the cell can be specialized, then the cells group together. Now the to form tissues, and now the tissues are grouping together to form organs, right? And if you look on the image here, you can see organs such as the thyroid, the eye, the brain, the heart, the kidneys, stomach, liver, bladder, intestines, spleen, pancreas, lungs, and a whole heap more. Good. Now all of these organs work together to carry out a specific function, right? And what we have happening is that in organ systems now, the organs group together. So most times the organs don't work isolated, they work like a team, right? So for the team, that wants to carry out the goal. Let's say for the circulatory system, you have all the blood vessels plus the heart. They work together to circulate blood. The nervous system, the brain, the spinal cord, and all the neuron network, they work together on the team nervous system to conduct and coordinate responses. Right? And the respiratory system, you have the lungs, good, and the nasal passage. Yeah, and the digestive system, you have the stomach, the liver, the intestines, and so forth. In the skeletal system, you can see the skeleton there, and in the muscular system, all the muscles. So it is a teamwork when we talk about organ systems. You have different groups of organs operating on the same team in order to carry out the ultimate goal of the team. So if it's the nervous system, which is to coordinate responses, then all the different neurons in the body will work together to ensure that is done. If it is a respiratory system we're talking about right here, then the lungs and the trachea and the nostrils and the mouth, they will work together to ensure that the duties of the respiratory system is done. Looking at this table will give you a better picture of what I'm talking about. So in the digestive system, we have the gut, which would be the intestines, the liver and the pancreas. Their main goal is to ensure that food is digested and absorbed into the blood. The respiratory system, the windpipe, the lungs, right, the nose, and even the mouth, their goal is to ensure that oxygen is that we take in oxygen and get rid of the carbon dioxide from our blood. Good. So the the circulatory system, the blood vessels and the heart work together to ensure that oxygen and food is transported all around the body. Another system is the excretory system. It's made up of the kidney, the bladder, and the liver, and even the skin. And their role is to ensure that the body gets rid of all the poisonous substances in there. The sensory system, your eyes, your ears, your nose, your tongue, your skin, all of it is to detect stimuli. So if you understand what I'm saying, that the organs now will work together on a team, in a group, in order to achieve one major goal, or maybe more than one major goal, right? The reproductive, you have the testes, the ovaries, the penis, the vagina, right? All of them work together to ensure that a new offspring is produced. The musculoskeletal system, as a combination of the skeletal and the muscular system, their role is to ensure that we can stand upright, move all around, right, and give us the shape that we don't look like slug. Good. And it's made up of the muscles and the skeletons, right? So muscle cells and bone cells, nervous system, brain and spinal cord. So that, students, is basically how the organ systems work. The organs work together on a team, and they give us what is the organism. So the organism is that complex creature such as mankind, right? We are very complex, well organized. We are made up of billions, not trillions of cells, right? And all of them work together, not in opposition to each other, but in harmony. All right, students, that is basically it for the understanding of the levels of organization. I surely do hope that you have understood something. Remember, you can play the video over and over again so that you can get a better understanding of what the levels of organization are. Thank you very much. Please remember to subscribe for more videos. Have a good day.